Hey guys, it's Stephanie, and I'm here to talk about the books that I have read recently. I feel like it's been a while since I've done one of these, but I do have a few books I wanted to talk about, and I want to talk about the books that I have next up on the to-read list that I'm hoping to get to. So the first book I want to talk about is the book that was the March pick for the Books in the Freezer book club. We went with Walkers by Graham Masterton. And this is about a man named Jack who comes across this huge abandoned property and he has dreams of turning it into a golf resort. He starts the process of buying it. He is not aware that it used to be a criminal asylum. He goes to check out the property one night in the middle of the night with his son, and his son goes missing in the property, and the ghosts, spirits, beings that used to live in that asylum hold his son hostage. And guys, I'm just gonna say it, I did not enjoy this book. Like, the writing was fine. Jack as a character was so frustrating. He made so many stupid decisions. He was also a misogynist. Like, I was running out of reasons why we were rooting for this guy. You know what, running out, like, I had none, and there was none toward the end. The way women are portrayed in this is not my favorite. I'm not gonna harp on it too much because this was written in the 80s, which I know wasn't that long ago, but it obviously was a less woke time than now. But it was just like eye roll inducing so much of the time that it just got under my skin. The plot in here just, I would say the best part of this is like the first time we see actual violence and what these inmates, because it was like a criminal prison asylum, like what they were capable of. Like, the first time we see that in action, it's shocking and violent and gory. And after the long scene we had of like his secretary being described, it was necessary. So I did not like this. I have not really had luck with the kind of bigger names of the 80s, the Graham Masterton and John Saul. I don't know, I may or may not give either of those two authors a second chance, because I will tell you, Blackstone Chronicles and Walkers did not work for me at all. We are doing a live show on the 31st where I'm sure I will get more into why I did not enjoy this book. But yeah, that was Walkers. And I was really excited to finally read a book that had been on my radar for a long time. I first heard about it from Rachel over at the Shades of Orange when she used to be on the Books in the Freezer podcast with me. And again, Devin, the new co-host, is also a really big fan of Junji Ito. So I was really excited to check this out. Like, my hold for this book finally came in after months of being on a wait list. And this was Uzumaki. This is about a small Japanese town where the residents are being haunted by spirals. And I really can't get into more of that, but I will say the things that were fantastic in this story is the creativity, just like the different stories and the different ways spirals came into play were fascinating. The artwork in here is incredible. I lost interest towards the end, but I think this is a personal thing for me where I'm okay with a scattered story or like short story type things, which is kind of what this was. This was kind of like different instances of like something crazy happening with spirals and then something crazier happening with spirals. And then in the end, it kind of tied everything together and tried to explain it away, which I don't know, for some reason I don't care for. I'm like, I don't need that. You don't need to do that. But that's not a knock on the book. I think that's more my personal thing. So other than that, it was really good. I like 100% recommend it. It gave me the creeps, and the artwork in here, just some of like the body horror and stuff that happened was like, ooh, yikes, but in a good way, like in a good horror way. So anyway, that was Uzumaki by Junji Ito. I really recommend it. Another book that I read was Johannes, Cabal, the Necromancer. I could be wrong, so I am sorry if I am mispronouncing that, by Jonathan Howard. And this is the start of a series, and this is a book I had been eyeing for a while, but it follows a man named Johannes Cabal who made a deal with the devil. He exchanged his soul for necromancy powers, but he's discovered that he kind of needs a soul for these necromancy powers to be at their best. So he decides to go back down into hell and renegotiate with Satan. And so Satan says, okay, like, I will give you your soul back, but within the span of 1 year, you need to sign 100 souls over to me. And if that doesn't happen, then you're just going to be damned like on the spot forever. But I will give you the help of this old dilapidated carnival, and you can travel it around the country and collect souls. So he does that. He gets this traveling carnival going, raises up some helpers from the dead and hires them on to help him. And he also hires his brother Forbes, who is a vampire, is much more of a people person than Johannes is. And so they all work together towards this communal goal of getting 100 people to sign their souls over. This had very dry humor that just really worked for me. It came off very like Monty Python-esque, just like the exchanges that people had. I just thought were really funny and very witty. If you like horror with a bit of comedy in it that has more of that flavor and isn't more on the like obnoxious or very lowbrow type of scale, I would definitely recommend this. And I listened to the audiobook, and the audiobook for it is fantastic. So that is Johannes Cabal, the Necromancer, and it is the start of a series. I don't know what any of the titles are, but definitely I recommend checking that one out for sure too. I also listened to the third book in the Walt Longmire series called Kindness Goes Unpunished. Basically all the titles in this are just like sayings that are twisted. So like the first one is the cold dish, and so that's a play off like revenge is a dish best served cold. And I think the one I have here, and like the one I have, which is the next one in the series, is another man's moccasins. So it's like, you know, walking a mile in another man's shoes. This one is different because it takes Walt out of Wyoming and he goes to Philadelphia to visit his daughter, who is a lawyer. But when he gets there, she is attacked and she spends the majority of the novel in a coma. So it was interesting because you got to see Walt out of his element, but also on this kind of revenge mission to find out what happened to his daughter. Vic, his deputy back in Wyoming, her family is all in law enforcement and they're from Philadelphia. So we get to interact with Vic's family and kind of see where she came from. So you get a lot more character development with these characters, and certain relationships in this book go places that are gonna affect the rest of the series, I think. So I'm really interested to get to the next one. I really enjoyed this. I don't know why I like these books so much, but I do. There is just something about them that just like really works for me. That is the third book in the Longmire series. I definitely suggest reading them in order because a lot of the times Walt like muses on past cases that he's done, and he's like, it was a shame that this person did that like the whole time. So it will spoil previous books for you. You do need to read them in order if that's something you're interested in. But anyway, that was the third one, Kindness Goes Unpunished. So those were some of the books I have recently read, and here's what I have coming up next. So Walkers was our pick for March for the books in the Fraser Book Club, and for April we have Lost Highways, Dark Fictions from the Road. This is an anthology. It's currently nominated for a Bram Stoker Award in the anthology category. But what I was really excited about is this list of authors that have contributed to this collection. So we have like Joe Lansdale, Josh Malerman, Jonathan Janz, Damien Angelica Walters, and Christy DeMeester, and a lot of like really big names that I'm really curious about. And I don't think I've ever read like really road trip type horror. So I'm excited to see like what people do with that. So that is Lost Highways. And hopefully we have some people joining us to go chat in the Goodreads group if you want to do that. Like if you want to read this along with all the books in the Fraser Book Club, just join in on the Goodreads group for it. And we all put our thoughts in there. I separated it into chunks so you can talk about different stories. So anyway, I am still making my way through The Dark Game by Jonathan Janz. I am about like 100 pages in. I'm really enjoying it. At first it was a little overwhelming because there's like a ton of characters, because it's about these 10 horror writers that go to this like writing retreat that's being run by this like really big name in fiction, and it's a bit of a competition. Like they know that there's a competition and there's eliminations, and like the winner gets a really exclusive publishing contract, and I think like I want to say like $1 million, like something crazy like that. So tensions are high and everyone has to like share their works in progress. So it's interesting to like get into like what goes into writing. And there's a little bit of a meta aspect because one of the authors is working on Jonathan Jan's like previous novel, The Siren and the Spectre, and he keeps talking about like plot points to that and like the characters in that and like how he's working to craft that into a story. So that is The Dark Game by Jonathan Janz. This is coming out next month, so I need to get going and hurry this up. And 2 books I picked up from the library. One is a book I've been really excited about, and it just got released, and that is Inspection by Josh Malerman. Josh Malerman, of course, being the author of like Bird Box and Black Mad Wheel and Unbury Carol. This is shelved as YA, which could be accurate, and I know it's about, like, I don't know if it's like a dystopian future, but there's like 2 schools, like a school for boys and a school for girls, and everyone is just given like a letter. We follow like a girl main character and like a boy main character and like what they know and how things are run in this world. So like I don't know a whole lot going in, and I kind of like that. So anyway, that is Inspection by Josh Malerman. And then one that I picked up that was super random. I was just sitting in the kids section with my son while he was playing. We were picking out like picture books, and sometimes they have middle grade books on display. So I picked up Two Night Owl from Dogfish. And this is a middle grade novel about 2 girls that become pen pals because the one thing they have in common is they are being raised by single fathers who are gay, and their dads start dating. And so these girls start communicating via email. They kind of become pen pals. And so the book is told in like letters and emails. And I think the dads get married and they go to like a sleepaway summer camp. So it just had a very like a Nancy Meyers Parent Trap kind of feel, which is like my comfort movie. Like I watch that movie every time it pops up on streaming. Like it goes on and off like Netflix, and whenever it comes back, I will stop what I am doing and watch it. That is like one of my favorite movies. So because it had that feel to it, and I love a good epistolary story, I figured I would pick it up and give it a try. So that is Two Night Owl from Dogfish, and written by Holly Goldberg Sloan and Meg Wolitzer, which is like what really caught my eye. I mean, also this cover caught my eye just because of all the pretty colors. But this was a little out of my comfort zone, just because it's middle grade from a section of the library I usually don't pick up for myself from. But that is that. So that's what I have going on right now, and what I had going on. Anyway, thank you so much for watching this, and I hope to see you again soon. Bye!